Hey, my name's Albie, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to go over the perfect vows. Now, really quick, if you do not have a pen and paper, go ahead and take it out right now so you can go ahead and take notes. The first thing I want to go ahead and have you write down is how long should your vows be? All right, so your vows should be anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes long, and if you can get like the perfect sweet spot is 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's like literally the sweet spot. So if you can get there, that's amazing. But if it's 1 minute, it's kind of like too short. Anything over 2 minutes is too long. So anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes, that's a perfect time frame for your vows. Now, with what we're looking at right here, I'm going to go ahead and dive deeper on what exactly we're looking at when it comes to the stick figures. We have the backstory, we have them, we have the future, we have the names. I'm going to go ahead and dive into all of that stuff. So the very beginning of your vows, you want to go ahead and state the person's name that you're writing the letter to, or your vows to. So if you're the bride, you say the groom's name. If you're the groom, you say the bride's name. Super simple, right? Then you want to move into what is called the backstory, your backstory. And not only is it the backstory, but you want to really peel back some skin here and find some conflict. Write this down. Emotion is created through conflict. So if you want people to cry, this is you have to nail this part. And let me go ahead and help you. Let me give you an example. There was a wedding video that went viral. Like it is, I'm pretty sure if you look up, I forgot the name, but there's this wedding video where this bride who had a kid, she had a daughter, and she was her conflict, or her backstory in her vows, she said it in her vows, but her conflict in her vows was she was afraid that she could never, ever, ever find someone to love her and love her daughter the same way ever again. She thought her life was completely, like, she could never find someone who could love both of them together as a whole until she met her now husband. And that video has so many views and had everyone crying, and it's because of this backstory, this conflict that she wrote. And everyone has their conflict, whether it was you met them and they didn't want to date you, and now you're married, and who would have known, or whatever it is. Really sit down and figure out what your conflict was. I promise you, everyone is not perfect. You have a conflict. There were some inner demons that you were struggling, and this is where you need to go ahead and pry them out, because this is going to anchor everything for your wedding video. This is literally going to anchor everything. So please dig deep. If it feels weird out loud, you might have it. All right, that might be a little one. That might be it, because we're not used to showing or revealing what we're struggling as humans. So really start there. Figure out what you were struggling with before and how this person who came into your life, made it better. So please dig deep, dive deep. It's okay if it feels weird, it's okay. You probably have it if it feels weird. But within this backstory, don't hang out too long here. The vows is not about like, oh, boo-hoo, sorry story about you. Literally say a couple sentences about you, about the conflict and the backstory, whatever it was, a couple sentences, and then move on to them. Okay? The 90% of your vows needs to be all about the other person. So if you're the bride, talk about the groom. If you're the groom, talk about the bride. All right, you really want to hang out here. This is where you want to hang out. All right, so once you've talked about your backstory, you've tied it in with a conflict with your backstory, and you have you're now moving on to talking about them. All right, you want to tell either one big story. A good one is about like the day that you thought that you knew that they were the one. That's a good one. But you can tell little stories about like, oh, I saw you do this, and I was like super ecstatic when you did that, or maybe you did this for me, and I knew you were the one, or maybe this or that. You want to tell either little tiny stories, multiple little stories, or you want to tell one big story on why they are amazing, and it's because of this, and it's because of this, and it's because of this, and that is the reason why, like, you are the one. So you want to talk about the person, 90% of them. You really just want to tell stories, and it's really not hard, because there are plenty of stories that you have about the person you are going to marry. This is not rocket science for you. This is just thinking back about the stories of your past life and putting them into words, all right, or telling the story on paper. All right, so like I said, we've gone over the backstory, which is the conflict. You want to talk about them. And now we're moving into the very end of the vows, which is your future. And you want to go ahead and do the futures by your promises. You know, I promise, I vow this and that, I vow these and that. And you don't want to hang out too long here. Just say a couple of the vows, a couple of your promises. But like I said, the majority of vows wants us to hang out right here about the other person. So that's pretty much it. So your backstory or your conflict, you want to go ahead and, like I said, dig deep, bring out those inner demons. I don't want to say demons, but there was something that wasn't right before. Really, I don't know what it is. I gave you the example of what it was for that girl in that one video. And then you want to move on to them, and then you want to move on to the future. But the majority of the time, you want to hang out right here in the middle. We'll just talk about them. Alrighty? So I hope this helped. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and shoot me a message and let me know that you loved it and that it helped you clear things up in it or anything. Because I put a lot of work into this and trying to figure it and building all this stuff out. So I'd love to hear your feedback from it. Or if you're confused, send me messages likewise. And I could help probably make this video a little bit better and more clear. Alrighty? So thank you so much. If you loved it, message me. If you are still confused about it, message me still. And I will personally help you figure this out. Alrighty? Thank you so much.